I'm Karen at Close to My Heart, and this is video number 3 of 4 of our watercolor pencil series. I hope you've enjoyed the first few. If you haven't seen videos 1 and 2, I suggest you go back and give them another look so that you have the skills that we've taught there, which we'll be building on in this video today. Today we're going to do something that maybe a lot of people haven't ever thought of with their watercolor pencils, so I'm excited to show you that. But before we get started, let me just remind you, you're going to want to like, subscribe, and be sure to turn on that bell notification so you never miss one of our Close to My Heart videos. I hope that you're feeling like they're valuable and you want to make sure you don't miss. So today we're going to learn how to use the tip of our pencil and a water brush in a whole new way. Let's take a look at the art that I've created and I'll show you how we did it. So I have this cute little 3-scoop ice cream cone, and if you're looking at those, you can see that those are colored and they maybe look a little bit different than some of the coloring we've done in our previous videos. I'm going to move where you can see me really close up so that you get a bird's eye view of the look I'm talking about and also can see me demonstrating really close up. So here we go. I think I can fit it all right in here where you're seeing. Can you see that on these ice cream cones that we've got a little bit of a swirly look going on? We did that because ice cream kind of does have a swirly look, but it does have a little bit different look than what we've done in previous videos. In fact, if I grab some of the art that we showed in videos 1 and 2. You can see this is video number 1. We talked about using our colored pencils dry. This is video number 2. We talked about coloring with our colored pencils and then using a wet brush to move the color around and soften it. Today we're going to talk about something I'll bet most people haven't thought of. So I'm going to grab one ice cream cone and we're going to start with our blue. Instead of coloring onto my ice cream cone, I'm actually going to take my water brush, and in case you weren't here for video number 2 and are watching out of order, this is a little brush that unscrews. You fill it with water, screw that cap back on, and you just need to squeeze a little bit and it's perfect. You get water on your brush without having to continue to dip it into a bowl of water. And what I'm going to do is take my brush and brush it onto the tip of my watercolor pencil. So I'm picking up color that way, and I can come in and add it to my little ice cream cone. And I'm adding my color around the areas I want to have the very darkest first, because as I do that and it gets a little lighter, I can start to pull in, almost like watercolor paint. When you start painting with paint, this is almost like anything you would do with watercolor paint. You'd start where you want the darker area and move it in. Now, I want it darker than I have it, so I'm going to go get some more color, come back to this area that I want darker, and I'm even going to add a little more around the edges on the top and sides. Oh, and my thumb too. Don't forget your thumb, that's really important. And just work that around and pull the color in so that I keep that nice dimensional shaded look. And you can see how that really is almost like working with paints, and it shows you how versatile watercolor pencils are. If I had to choose one medium, which let's just hope that never happens, like heaven forbid that happens, but if I had to choose one coloring medium that I could only have in my studio, I would choose watercolor pencils because there are so many great ways to be able to use them, and I can achieve a watercolor paint look with pencils, but I can't always achieve a pencil look with paints. Speaking of watercolor paints, we also have a really great watercolor paint series right here on YouTube that you should check out if you haven't yet. And you might enjoy some of the things you learn there. Okay, can you see what's happening? I'm just continuing to use this like a palette of paints, wiping my brush off when I get a little too much on there and want to blend. Just coming over to my scratch paper and wiping off the excess and just continuing to blend my little ice cream cone like I want it to look. And you can see how that's turning out really nice. Now, you can see how we layered this ice cream cone, and I know this video is about watercolor pencils, but I thought it would be fun to show you that. Well, I've got this blue one in front of me. I'm just going to cut off the ice cream part of this stamp. We're just going to create ourselves a 3-layer ice cream. And we're going to cut one off of a second ice cream cone. This one's going to be our vanilla scoop, and I'm not going to color it at all. You certainly could. You could use just like a really light tan and just add a little bit of color around the edges and get that vanilla look. We're going to be pretty simple today. And then this last one, I'm going to wipe the blue off of my water brush until it's clear and move to a red pencil. And we're going to do exactly what we did before. And you're going to be able to see that same technique in action that we talked about just a second ago as I colored that blue ice cream. And this time I'm doing it with red. And you can see that I'm just picking up more and more color as I need to and adding it to my project. Getting a really fun watercolor paint look, as we mentioned before. Just going to leave this one a little lighter than I did on the blue so that it will take a little less time to create it. We can put it together. Now, lastly, I'm just going to do a little shading on my ice cream cone. So I'm going to wipe that red off of my brush. Anytime you switch colors, you want to have some place close by that you can squeeze a little water in that brush and wipe it until it's clear again. And I'm going to take this lighter brown color, do the exact same thing we've been doing, and add a little color to my cone. And you can see that you have as many colors as you have in your paint arsenal by using watercolor pencils. And one thing that we've been doing a little bit in the video series so far is layering color. I haven't done that yet in this video, so let's do it. Why not? Now that we've picked that up and painted our ice cream cone a little bit of a lighter brown, I'm just going to take a darker brown pencil. I don't need to wipe my brush off this time because I'm staying in the same color family and going darker. If I had gone from dark to light, I would definitely want to. And all I'm going to do is go back with this darker brown color and add a little shading and detail. And because this cone is already wet, it makes the blending really easy. Whereas if it were dry, I would have to work a little harder to get that nice blend going on. Can you see that happening? That darker brown just blending right in with that lighter brown. Now you just saw a technique that most people have never heard of or thought of. And I'm just going to put this ice cream cone like I would if I were putting it on that card so that you get that idea. Think of your stamps in pieces. They'll always go a little further when you do that. And now that we've talked about picking that paint up off the tip of your pencil with a water brush, you're going to want to make sure to join me next week for video number 4. Because on video number 4, we're going to be picking color up from the tip of the pencil and doing some really cool things with it that don't involve stamping at all. So be sure to come back and join me.